Bit of another egg on top of mixture.
I know, we didn't. Oh, we're going to leave the egg out. No, we did it. We didn't like it.
Maybe use just the egg white.
In the middle of winter, like if
Oh,
I
yes,
wanted
no,
to make a
sure.
plum cake.
Any of these, you'd use
I'd
tin
use
plums.
2 plums, yeah.
I think the common ingredient is love. Jewish mothers love nurturing their families with food and their friends and their community. And so no matter what country the food comes from, it's homely, it's comfort food, and it's just full of love.
But one other ingredient as well as love, I think, is fried onions.
Yes.
It's Plum Day today, and we are making, was it nine?
We decided to do one more, so 10.
10 plum cakes in one day. I had a very important job of cutting the plums, so there was much discussion about what plums would be used, whether it would be Angelinas or the bigger ones, which you now can have very neatly.
Plum cakes must have been something in the old world that everybody used to make because there's so many, it's amazing. And they're all slightly different. Some just by 1 ounce of flour sort of thing. My background's in law, but I think I used to focus more on what to cook for dinner than what I was supposed to be doing in court. So I decided that I needed a change. And really we were inspired to start this project because there are so many recipes that need writing down and preserving and sharing with the world. So we sort of made it our mission over the years to do that. Why shouldn't they be shared?
And not just old recipes, we also need to collect from our generation to pass down to the next generation.
I'd be happy just to use these, but I know you wouldn't. So if you can tell me what 1/2 cups is, I'll
Let's
measure
do
it.
by weight if we can. So
one
it's
and a half.
225 grams. We get lots of recipes that are so vague, and they're not vague because they're not good recipes, but the person that's been making that cake or whatever has been making it for a number of years. So they know what a handful means and what a pinch means and what, mix the dough till it's ready. Well, they know what ready means. So we have to sort of interpret it. I want to do it chock full of fruit if we can, because I think the fruit, and the ones that I made, and I had a little taste, of course, they're too much cake and not enough fruit.
The whole idea of making a book started with Lisa and I having a conversation. We took our time with the first book. It was all just very relaxed. The second book we had deadlines that we needed to meet, and actually we'd done it once before, so we knew what we were doing, so we were able to get going and get through it much faster.
People were coming forward with recipes, so I think that bit got cut down a little bit as well.
Particularly with the older generation, some of their recipes were written on the back of envelopes. And they might have been on the phone to someone and they scroll down a few notes, and we have to try and decipher that. Sometimes we have to go into their kitchen, and that's always a pleasure to go in and cook with them. It's great fun.
Along the way we hear their stories, because that's the other thing we do. We don't just collect recipes, we collect stories. So to go to sit in someone's kitchen, to bake with them, particularly the older generation, and then hear their life story is something that, when do you get that opportunity in your life to do that?
Yeah, that's a gift. It's very interesting in Jewish cooking that there are certain dishes that revolve around eating on the Sabbath. And depending on what country people have come from, there's a range of dishes where someone would carry the raw dish, uncooked, to the communal baker's oven before Sabbath, and that would sit there in the low embers of the baker's oven, and someone was delegated to pick it up after synagogue to eat for Saturday lunch. So we've got a couple of those. We've got cholent, which is very Eastern European, and it's a bean and meat stew. And then we've got another dish, which is more Eastern, called chicken to beet, where you submerge a chicken into a stock pot of rice and you leave it in for the 18 hours. And by the time it's finished cooking, it's got this beautiful brown, fragrant crust of rice. So you turn it out and then you gorge on it. Wow. So that's something from the past that people do now, but obviously with a lot more technology.
Quite often we get a number of the same recipe, and the longer we collect, the more often that happens. And we just happened to find ourselves with 10 plum cakes to try. And it's easy to, you could look at the recipes on paper and say, well, we think we like that one because of that and that one because of that. But then we thought, let's just cook them all today. So we're going to sit down in a minute, which is the fun part of the day, and taste them all. Just on looking at them, I would not want to make one, and I made it.
And number 6 doesn't really do it for me.
Number 6
I
looks
think
like
number 6 looks yum.
I don't know how we go about doing this.
Well, I just like to look at the insides first of all.
So funny how such a slight difference in a recipe can make a cake so completely different. When you first glance at the recipes, they look really almost identical. And yet the cakes, when you see them, are so different.
Can you point when you talk about something?
It smells good.
Can I borrow the cake? Oh, that looks good.
Looks good.
Which is that one?
Number 7.
Can someone say something nice about number 9?
I think about number 8.
No emotion investment whatsoever.
Look at that.
In our local community, there's always a face smiling at us, which is really lovely. And often in the supermarket, we get stopped and asked for advice, or they tell us what they're going to cook, or in the hairdresser, you know, someone's always telling me about their grandmother's recipe and that you've got to have, and you go to a party and that's what you end up talking about. In fact, Lisa and I joke that we have no Monday Morning Cooking Club conversations tonight when we're out together on a Saturday night, because we have to stop it. Otherwise, it's just continual. And also the texture. It's got
So I think out of the 10, we all agree there are 3 that we're going to try again in 2 weeks.
Yes.
When we're ready to eat plum cake again.
Yes.
This one, the rectangle one with the lemon rind, the one with the burnt edges, and the warm cake. Do we agree? Those 3. Okay.
3 finalists out of 10.
Yay, more plum cake.